I don't think that we can also jump to the conclusion that their season is completely over. I said this a lot on Rufino and Joe. I said that I really believed that if there was a team that was going to have a complete emotional letdown after they expended all of their energy playing against Georgia last week, that they were going to show up and they were not going to play anywhere near the same level. Did they make some of the big highlight plays like they had to Ryan Williams late in the game to get back into it? Absolutely. Did the offensive line play like dog ass and make a ton of mistakes? Yeah, that was a big reason why. The defense didn't tackle, they didn't rally. Diego Pavia, who we have constantly highlighted as a headache for defenses, they could not rally and stop him, and they allowed any branch off of any time that he was running the football for any of these option plays that were incorporated in the play calling. It was impossible to keep up with him, and they were not coming down hard. They were not playing good, sound, technical, contained, good, smart football. None of that. All of it went out the window. You can't take a break in the SEC even against freaking Vanderbilt.
You know what? And this Tennessee loss is going to sting so much more because Alabama had the big. You had a buffer. You had Alabama taking an early freak loss, and you dropped one also. And credit to Vanderbilt. Tim Beck called an incredible game. All the upset, the goalpost being torn down. You have to highlight what Alabama didn't do. They didn't contain well. Jalen Milroe had a good game, not a great game. A pick, a fumble, one touchdown.
The pick wasn't his fault. It was just like a crazy barnyard bounce that when it didn't go his way.
But a lot of the things that I didn't like Alabama doing was only 6 targets to Ryan Williams, who is, you can make a real legitimate argument for the most dynamic offensive player in the country. 3 catches, 82 yards, and a glorious touchdown. A touchdown where me and Joe had to look at each other and say, did he just do it again?
Yeah.
Is that body control even possible for a human? It's an unbelievable upset because, and for me also, it doesn't sting without Saban there. People kind of want to root for DeBoer. I kind of want to root for DeBoer. He's a likable coach. I like what he's doing with the program. He has these guys fighting hard and kicking Georgia's ass after having to fill the biggest shoes that we could remember in college football. And he gets this team up and they drop a goofy one to Alabama or to Vanderbilt. Embarrassing. It's you cannot help but be embarrassed for Alabama.
So my thing with Alabama, and this is something that I'm sure many aren't going to be fans of, I think it's his first year. I think it's unfair to criticize Kalen DeBoer for losing that game in his first season. If they lost to Georgia and they came into this game and they lost to Vanderbilt, we'd be having a very, very different discussion. The peak of capability of what Kalen DeBoer can do at Alabama is visibly there. Like we literally, quite literally saw it last week.
Yeah.
We couldn't have visualized it more. Beating one of the best teams in the country, a team that has been a difficult hurdle for Alabama recently and has always been a tough out whenever they faced them. To go in year one and to beat them is a huge accomplishment. To come back this week and your team to not be focused, even though you tried to get them focused, but you failed to do so, yeah, it's a huge negative. It's a huge problem. That loss 100%, 1,000% falls onto Womack, the defensive coordinator, and on Kalen DeBoer for not getting his guys right enough. And he clearly was going too easy on them in practice. But my whole point to say this is that Alabama team is still great. They're still going to go on to the playoff. They're still going to probably win one of their other top games. And I know that they've got a bit of a tough schedule. I'm sure that they're capable of beating Alabama or beating Tennessee when they face them. They're going to beat Missouri because we saw that Missouri played like a
fraud watch
dead body today, which we'll get touched on probably more towards the end of today's show. They still have life. In this new landscape, like I just said a second ago, where one loss does not kill you. It does not end your season. It looks terrible. It's embarrassing. We all understand that. Alabama fans, you should feel embarrassed. As a Notre Dame fan who was embarrassed by the NIU loss, yeah, it sucks. It completely sucks. You're getting mocked endlessly. But you shouldn't act like that this is the end of the world.
The ship isn't sinking.
And you my whole thing that's going to happen this week by many people is that you can't listen to all the praise that went towards DeBoer last week for the way that they played against Georgia and then turn around and then say that he is inept and incapable because they lost to Vanderbilt. There is a middle ground that you are unwilling to seek out that is there. You just don't want to look for it and pay attention to it.
Yeah, I am not bailing on Alabama this year. They are tangibly a great team. You can see them. Jalen Milroe is an exceptional college football quarterback. Very, very strong, good. I think they could sweep the rest of their schedule. They could clear Tennessee. They could clear Missouri, LSU, Auburn, Oklahoma. They could clear them all. And then they're sitting as a one-loss team, which a lot of people wouldn't be shocked by. And I wouldn't be. I still think the bones are there. This is one of these freaky, drunk college football weeks that we should all be thankful that we get to see. It's a fantastic day for football, just because you get some traditional crazy upsets. But the rationality, Joe, you're speaking to and asking SEC fans to have some, that's a little tough. That's a big ask, pal. But for the few that do, keep your head on. You'll be fine. Alabama's a really good team. I think that if you hold the faith and you just say, that was a weird one, we didn't really get locked in and we're overlooking Vanderbilt, which is not the first time a team has overlooked Vanderbilt. And for the most part, Vanderbilt hasn't had a Diego Pavia. Vanderbilt has been a team that you could look past and just beat off of pure talent, but they're better this year. Clark Lee is finally finding his groove. And the offense, maybe you just did not pay it. The scout team wasn't giving them good enough looks of a Pavia read option. Yeah, stop the read option. It's not that hard. Key in on a quarterback, key in on the running back.
Yeah, and it's not like you're going against Lamar Jackson. You're going against Diego Pavia.
It's Diego Pavia.
It's all will. It's all attention to detail. It's focus. It's being prepared in the week of practice. It's not getting duped out by moves made by Pavia. All that shit. It's simple defense. If you're Alabama and the athletes that are roaming around that defense should be able to stop them.
And that's cheating eyes in the backfield because a lot of the big clutch up plays for Vanderbilt, it was misdirection. And that's because Alabama was taking them lightly all throughout the game. They didn't have to worry about, I don't have to worry about this tight end that looks like he's blocking that slips to the flat and converts a 3rd and 10. This won't matter because we're just going to march down and beat them and they're not going to score. Oh, they scored on us. Oh, I don't have to worry about this wide receiver getting past me. I'm at Alabama. He's at Vanderbilt. He could never be. Oh, he just caught one over my head. What is going on here? And now you're in a real fight. Now you're in the football game, and Vanderbilt was locked in from minute 1 to minute 60. Alabama got locked in at about minute 45.
Just terrible way to finish. And I mean, it isn't like that's the stupidest part is that like you see that they were dicking around most of this game, and then it kind of came down to oh wait, we need to get focused. We can't lose this.
But the thing is, Diego Pavia, just king, I guess, getting in your head. You know what? I root for him. I had a bit of a rant a couple weeks ago about why he's good for Vanderbilt, and I still stay to that testament of Diego Pavia is a big meathead quarterback with a lot of swagger and balls. Vanderbilt hasn't had that since Jay Cutler. And I don't even know if Jay Cutler was as ballsy as Pavia was, which is crazy to say. But his post-game interview, doesn't care who's interviewing him. I'm going to swear and say Vandy is effing turnt tonight, and I'm gonna just go find my family and run around like a madman. I loved it. It was elite scenes from an awesome upset. You got to root for that dude. It's fantastic.